and welcome. I hope that you are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today, where we are going to do something that I've wanted to do for a long time, but for one reason or another, it just wasn't working out. So we're going to get this done today. We're going to make a butterfly feeder. And butterflies require a lot of water. They also have very specific situations that they need for getting that water. So they can't just land in a puddle. They need shallow water, but they also need something to perch upon so that they can use the water. So we're going to make a butterfly feeder. We're going to use yarn, a ring, a metal ring. So this one's a 1-inch metal ring. You can also just use a key ring if you have one handy, and a plate. You'll also need some rocks of various sizes, and I have a couple handfuls of those. You'll need some scissors and a ruler. And the first thing you're going to want to do is cut 6 pieces of yarn, and basically you need them to be about 108 inches. So the easiest way that I've found to do this is to just stretch my arms out. So I'm 5 feet tall, which is 60 inches. So if I do this twice, it's going to be 120 inches. So that's once. That's twice. So that's 120 inches, but I need like 10 inches less than that. So we'll go to there, and then we'll cut it. And we're going to do that with 6 pieces of yarn, and I'm going to use a few different colors. And honestly, once you cut the first piece, you can just use that as a guide for the rest of the pieces. When you have all 6 pieces cut, lay them all end to end to end. Make sure both of the ends meet up together. Bring the 2 cut ends together, and since we have it folded in half, we wanted to find the middle. That's exactly what we've done. We've got all the cut ends together at that end. Where it folds is your middle. You're going to take your metal ring and take your folded end, put your folded end through that metal ring, and you're going to create this hanging loop. So take the loose ends, pull them through that loop, and tighten. So I have taped down the ring here. There's that knot we created. And I have grouped them all into 6 groups of 2 strands each. So we have 6 pairings, 2 strands each. We're going to measure out to 11 3/4 inches, which is right about there. Going to make a knot. And you're going to do this individually with each of these pairings. So when you're going to make this, when you're about at the right place, kind of tighten it up gradually so you can get it at about the right spot. So I brought you in closer here to show you. We have each of those pairs tied together with a knot. So the next thing we're going to do is separate those strands into pairings, and I'm going to back the camera out so you can see this. So we're going to separate these strands. We're going to separate these pairings into new pairings. So you're going to take each of these strands and separate them from one another. And we're doing this to create new pairings. So once you have them separated, you are going to create new pairings. So I've separated all of them. We're going to bring these two together for the new pairing, these two together, these two together, these two together, these two together. And then lastly, we're gonna bring this one and this one together. And this time around, we want to measure down 8 inches from that previous knot. So the easiest way I found to make knots is to just measure where you're going, take 2 fingers and bring the loose ends around your finger and then pull them through. And once again, you want to do this slowly so that you can get that knot at the 8-inch mark. So just kind of tighten it up a little, see if that works. And that worked quite well. So we're going to move on to the next one. And actually, once you tied that first one, you can just use its location as a guide for where to put your other knots, or you can keep using the ruler. It is up to you, however you want to do that. And you want to try not to tighten it up until you're positive that that knot is where you want it to be. Because once you tighten it, it's going to be a little tougher to separate them to get it loosened. And I've had plenty of practice with that lately. So we don't have much left here. We've got this knot, and then the 2 outer knots. All right. So then when you get to this point, you're just going to bring these 2 together. Measure them to 8 inches. Same process. And there we are. So we've created kind of a little cage in there. So now we can straighten these all out. And I'm going to move this up again. So now we're going to take the plate and we're going to measure its diameter. And this is 7 5/16. So we measure the same length below all these knots. So we're going to 7 5/16 right there, and we're going to make a big knot. So same process here. And I'm going to tighten that knot. So now, because of how we did this, I have a bit of a tail left over. I'm going to trim about right there. And because I want it to be straight, I'm going to use that, cut above the tape. That's a little family trick we have. All right. So, you've created a cage for the plate. I'm going to, you're not going to be able to see this all at the same time, but I am going to stick the plate in there. And I've got the plate in there. I'm going to turn these out. So that it will create a cage to hold the plate. Let me find the metal rings. And you can adjust. So it's going to hang like that. All right, so at this point what you want to do is add your rocks. And I do a mix of bigger rocks and smaller rocks. And I actually like to kind of clump those bigger rocks in a centric pattern. And the rocks are really going to help hold that where you want it held. And then you're just going to add a little bit of water. So just so it goes part way up the rocks. The butterflies can stand on the rocks and get some water. If you decide that you don't want to put the rocks in the water in, you can cut slices of oranges and put those in there. So when you go to hang this, you're going to use the metal ring on the top to hang it. So I'm over in the corner. Hopefully you can get a pretty good look at how it came out. You might have to adjust your strings occasionally. And there is our butterfly feeder. I hope that you enjoyed making a butterfly feeder, and I hope that you will give it a try. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you continue to use your curiosity to explore the world and your creativity to improve it. And thank you.